Hey friends, it's Charles here, and I want to talk about King Spawn number 34, and specifically the art of number 34. I am relatively new to the series of King Spawn. I have been reading Spawn and Gunslinger Spawn and coming in and out of the Scorched. Since Spawn 350, I have been reading all of those books. Plus, I'm going to be getting into Monolith and Salmon Twitch. And also, I've started reading the brand new Rat City, which I highly suggest. But with this book in particular, and yes, this one issue, I noticed a big change from how Spawn is usually drawn in this book and the wider universe. Um, Traditionally, in my opinion, the Spawn artwork has been very brutal, exaggerated, um, very aggressive and inhuman. And when I started reading this last night, I've been thinking about this art all night, and it starts here even with this first setting of the it looks like watercolor and the plane, and it's more photorealistic of a style, and that style, that softness, that humanity really extends as you go through the book. I mean, you look at Al Simmons. When has he looked that human and that vulnerable? And the passion that is, the emotion that is exuded in the face of the characters, be it sadness, fear, every emotion just cuts right through this watercolor style that is more photorealistic. And when the fight scenes happen and the violence happen, it does go to a more aggressive Spawn style. But again, you look at Spawn right here, there's a lot more texture and depth going from the uniform to the accessories. It is, Al Simmons as Spawn out in the light, so to speak, and you get to see him in his full glory. And, this arc has been him trying to rescue Granny Blake, a loved one of his who's been kidnapped in the service of manipulating Spawn. And when you see her first appearance, it's heartbreaking because you can see that she is a lovely old lady who is confused and scared by these bullies. And, it really tugs at your emotional heartstrings. And that's not even getting into the writing, but the art tells the story as much, if not more, than the writing. You see Granny Blake in these situations and you want to protect her. You want to see her come through this because you get emotionally involved. And then we go to the classic Spawn trope where we have the newscasters, the more mainstream, the more left, the more conservative guy down here. And if you're familiar, these are all characters that you would be very familiar with, if not characters, caricatures that you would be familiar with from the series, but they're even drawn in a more human light. Um, except for the right wing guy, he is still drawn pretty monstrously. I don't know if that is intentional or what. I mean, you look at the choices made. It probably is an intentional dig. Um, but then you see after the violence, everything softens and everything becomes more human and more emotional. And you see Al and give an embrace to Granny Blake and letting her know, hey, real key. And I think, in my opinion, that these art choices are very intentional because, after Spawn 350 and the Battle for the Throne of Hell, the dead zones open up all over the world, which means that the agents of hell and the agents of heaven no longer have their spawn powers. They're human. They're vulnerable. And, I think this issue in particular, really captures that new danger, and that the new stakes in this new world that Al Simmons finds himself in. And, I would like to see more of this, in the books. Nowadays, I think, art isn't so much, you know, emphasized in a lot of the books I read. It's just in service to the words. And they're just to, give you something to look at and to give you context. But here, the art and the writing are, so intertwined and so perfect and complementary to each other. And to me, that's the essence of comic books because if it wasn't for the art telling a story, we would just read books and let our minds fill in the blanks. But people forget that comics are not just a written medium, but it's also visual, it's also aesthetic. Half the storytelling is going to be in the pictures and the art and the action and the emotion. And, this is a book that really brings all that together. And I think Image Comics have been great at doing that since I have been collecting. I'm still a relatively new collector, about 6 years in. And, I say this every time I review a Spawn book. If you're not reading Spawn, it's a great time to get in. Plus, with the prices of all these books going up, Spawn, King Spawn, The Scorched, Gunslinger Spawn, Rat City, all $2.99 price points. And so you're going to be able to get, great art, great writing, a great expanded universe that, all ties in together. And you don't have to read every book to get each book, but each book complements every other book. And so, if you're looking for a place to get into the Spawn storytelling universe, now is a great time. We're still relatively young into a major arc that is affecting the whole universe. Plus, Rat City is a futuristic look into the Spawn series, and Al Simmons is connected in that some way. It is hinted at and suggested, and I don't know if it's a time jump thing or what, but it is very engaging and enthralling, aesthetically beautiful, and well written. And so that's it. That's my thoughts on King Spawn, more specifically the art and how brilliant it is. You can find them at your local comic book store. And if you're like me and you don't have a local comic book store, I suggest you go visit my friend Jeff at coffeeandacomic.com. I'll put that right here. Coffeeandacomic.com. They have great deals on shipping. I believe it's over $69. You get your order sent out to you for free. And you have the option of a monthly membership where I pay $23 a month, and every week I get my books sent out to me of what comes out, what I have on my pull list that week. It's sent out for a flat shipping rate, $23. And if you order as many comics as I do, that $23 a month is a steal. And if you sign up for their mailing list, you get heads up on rate deals, and you get to support a local veteran-owned business. Anyway, that's been King Spawn. My name is Charles. Keep reading them books. Like and subscribe. I am out.